Uncensored is back. Micah Frankel right now. Got TUF. What are we on? 23?
Mm-hmm.
23's Jodie Esquibel joining us. Wow. Robbery of the season. Right off the bat, we get to talk to you about it. How awful was that? That's the big topic right now. How awful was the emotions when the judge's decision was read?
It was pretty awful, actually. I would have rather have lost any other fight and a loss to go on my record, but to lose the opportunity to go into the house and lose the opportunity to fight for that contract is heartbreaking nonetheless, So that was the hardest loss that I've ever experienced in my life.
Well, as far as the outcry of support, I mean, Dana White, we heard it over the air, Claudia Gadelha, everyone feels you were robbed, that if it was 2018 in any way, it was towards your favor.
Right.
So do you feel you really lost anything, or do you feel you're still on the UFC radar as much as you've ever been?
I think that on a positive outlook, which I try to stay positive with everything, I feel like I got a lot more support. I have a lot of fans now that I've never had before, and it's cool to see how much outreach I've had. Like, I'm so grateful and so thankful for everybody that's posted anything, said anything at all. Like, that helps me a lot. And so I feel like in a positive way, I've come out of it with some fans, and I was able to go out there and fight in front of the people I needed to fight. So I'm hoping that that'll be enough, and now I'll just put my head down and go back to work. We'll see.
Watching the season, do you hold ill will, or do you want to see that your decision wasn't in vain, that she goes on to do something well with it?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that maybe don't super understand how that would make me look if she lost right away. People are like, oh, I hope she gets knocked out right away. And I'm like, I don't. I hope she goes on and wins, because then everybody knowing that I beat her
makes you look that much better.
Yeah, exactly. Puts me in a really good situation. And so I hope that everybody does well. It's a really good group of girls and a good cast, and I hope the best for everybody, really.
And then just currently as a fighter right now, are you a free agent? Is there an Invicta contract still in play?
There is, I'm really lucky to be involved with Invicta right now. I'm just kind of going to put my head down and go to work, and we'll see what happens. I would love to fight for Invicta. In the meantime, I'm waiting for that call for the UFC, and I'll be ready either way.
And then friends, family member, people close to you have already went through the trials of TUF. Well, how did their advice play in? And then also, was it comparable, the situations you ended up in?
It was, I have a lot of teammates that were alumni from the shows. So the Diego Sanchez's, the Diego Brandows, the John Dotsons, the Keith Jardine, Tate Fletcher, I could go on, but they all gave the same advice is go out there and be me, and I felt like I did that. So and that helped me. Things have changed with the show. We're on season 23, and they were on season 2 and 1, and things are different, but essentially it's the same thing. You put people in pretty crazy circumstances and ask them to perform in front of Dana White, Sean Shelby, and the UFC, and you kind of put this high stress, this not normal situation, hotel rooms, no cell phones, all that kind of jazz before you fight essentially the biggest fight of your life. I know fighters say that all the time, oh, this is the biggest fight of my life, but I do feel like to date that was the biggest fight that I had faced so far. So their advice was good, and everybody's evolving, the show's evolving, and I'm honored to have had such advice from some pretty cool cats,
We've heard about isolation. Really, how bad is it, and when does it start? You fly to Vegas, you go to the hotel to check in, I'm assuming, and how does it start?
It starts by it starts pretty abruptly, honestly. They kind of go through all your stuff and make sure that you don't have any logos and stuff that they said that wasn't allowed anyway. So they're just kind of double checking, and they get you set up right away.
So how much stuff of yours did they put off to the side?
You know what? I tried to be good and not that much, you know, and I don't need much in that situation. I just took what I needed, a mouthpiece, and everything else can be supplied. You know, like I was there to fight, and I didn't really care about anything else. So, and then they just kind of run you through the mill of interviews and a bunch of different interviews. You know, you have loved ones that come in to see you, but you can't really hang out with them right away because everything's scheduled. The crew is so amazing, and they've got such a good crew working for them that they try to allow everybody to see everybody when they get there. But it's tough. You know, it's just not the normal. Oh, we're gonna go weigh in. On top of that, you weigh in and you don't know who you're fighting still. So we all weighed in the same room. They just call you up and you weigh in, and eventually you're going to find out who you fight. And that itself, everything's different. It's an experience that I've never, ever been through before. So it's cool.
And then they got you guys all isolated like that. You guys are the fighters, the specific diets. How does the eating process go down while you're in the room?
It's good. You know, they take care of you as much as you can. We get grocery trips, and you're able to do a supermarket sweep and buy your groceries. So everything is as normal as it can be eating out of a hotel room. So you buy what you can, and you go from there. They really do take care of you as far as your needs, and I never felt like I really wanted for anything, so you can't really blame anything on that, you know.
You said supermarket sweep, so we're talking about shopping was a timed event?
Yeah, it was.
So where's our outtakes from the season? That sounds more entertaining. Starving fighters combing a store for the most nutritious thing they can find.
Yeah, and everybody was, I mean, they had to have taken half of us at the same time. There was a pretty large amount of us going to the grocery stores at the same time, and you're on a budget, of course. It wasn't an endless budget. And then it was kind of like you would kind of be looking at everybody else's shopping cart to see what they got, and where'd you get that from? And some people are helping other people, and some people are like not helping each other at all. And it's like the psychological warfare started fairly early on. So.
Was that the first inset of it?
I felt like that was the most apparent. I think that it probably had started before that, but I felt like that was very apparent. You were going to see the people that were going to help other people, or you were going to see the people that were maybe even plotting against others, and that was fun. I mean, everything was fun, you know.
So on that psychological war aspect, we know Keith Jardine, we know John Dotson, Diego Sanchez, mental guys. So what was their advice on that edge? Just be me, you know. Like I never spend extra energy trying to go out of my way to sabotage anybody or anything, you know, and just be me, you know, and that would be enough. Maybe that intimidated people enough just to be like, okay, well, she's not trying to sabotage people, she's trying to help people or whatever, you know, and I never felt out of my comfort zone. I never felt like I had anybody had the upper hand on me. So I felt really good. I felt confident in everything that I did, and I stayed true to myself. And with the fellow fighters, is it really standoffish from the first moment, or is it a little more friendly just from the isolation sets in and you see each other, so you're the only person you have to talk to somebody?
Yeah. You know what? There was 6 athletes, I believe, from Invicta on the female side. Of course, the female side of the TUF cast. So I had previously known half of the cast, you know, from either other fights or watching them fight, and so it wasn't ever anything super standoffish. You always knew that you were probably going to fight one of them, you know, and actually Yoder and I hit it off really well. And so throughout the process, the medicals and everything else, like we talked a ton, and when the matchup came, we were kind of like, I figured as much, you know, because we had really kind of made that friendship. So
of course it would happen off the bat.
Yeah, which is, you know, like you just know that that's going to happen, and it's fine.
And now we've also seen you get in the ring. Have you had any thoughts about boxing again, perhaps?
That's a good question. I do, actually. I've had to, when I was gone, I had a couple pretty awesome offers for some big cards in LA and a couple big undercards in Vegas, and I'll always explore that option. However, my main goal right now is MMA. So that's kind of on the back burner, but it's cool to still be able to get those cool offers, and now it seems as if they're coming a little more regularly.
So depending on the possibility, it's still
It depends.
a possibility.
It's still a possibility. It's got to be something that I can't refuse, though. It's got to be something that's gonna, because I wanna, because you really can't train both at the same time at a high level, and I'm understanding that now. Before it was kind of like, yeah, I can flip flop back and forth, but you really can't. I can't. People can. But I can't. I would like to put my whole heart into just boxing or just MMA, and right now my heart sits with MMA. So.
TUF's over. Options are in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it straw weight now? Is that where the concentration is? Because that's the UFC weight class, or is there a chance for Invicta, 105 pounds? We know that Ayaka's defended her title.
Yeah, that would also have to be a pretty big offer, something that I couldn't refuse to go down to atom weight. I felt really comfortable and really confident at 115. I felt like my camp went really well, and I think that's what's important. Fighting healthy as a fighter, and fighters drop weight classes and don't realize what they're doing to their body, and it's not just the fight, the weight cut, it's actual camp. For this fight, I was able to eat for nutrition and not eat to lose weight, and that's really important when you're asking your body to perform 3 times a day or 2 times a day. I feel like 115 is healthier, is smarter, and I feel better. So it would definitely have to be something that I couldn't refuse as far as dropping down back to atom weight. But I feel good at 115, and I competed against a taller, bigger straw weight, and I felt fine. I didn't feel like I was little, and people are like, "Oh, you're small, straw weight." Yeah, maybe so, but I don't feel like I lack any strength in that division at all.
So did you do a pre-camp, I guess, leading into TUF, do a camp at JacksonWinks to, I guess, feel like you're getting towards optimal to go in there?
Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't want to peak so early, because you think about it, and so you win your exhibition bout to get into the house, and then you have 8 more weeks of actual camp that you're training. So that would have put you at, a 16, 17-week camp. And so it was a little bit different preparation, but I definitely felt like I was in great shape going into the house, essentially.
Then we're talking about going into the house. So we see at the beginning you warm up with, they showed that Brandon was there, Brandon Gibson, they showed that Keith's around. So going in, do you warm up with those guys? We saw a little bit of work with them, or are you backstage trying to get ready in this little room with everybody else getting ready and new coaches?
It was pretty hectic. It is a little tiny room, and I was in Claudia's corner for the fights, which I don't think really meant too much. It was just how they divided up the group. So I was with them warming up, kind of, but I would go out and I warmed up with Brandon, warmed up with Keith, and then there's a point to where they kind of just shuttle you towards the back where you can't really come out anymore once it's closer to your fight. They run the card like a fight card, so it's not like cut action or whatever. It's the real deal. It's you're fighting, the fights are rolling. People are coming back to the locker rooms bloody, banged up, winning, excited, happy. It's everything that a fight card is, and so then you go and warm up with your corner, which is an interesting experience because it's somebody that maybe you've never really worked with. I had talked to them in the days leading up to the fight, and of course, everybody had scouted everybody for this. There was guys that knew, like on the guy side, everybody, there was a fellow that was there that had watched everybody's fights and knew everything about everybody, and so the coaches did the same thing, so they had seen my fights, they kind of know my style, and it was really cool. They were really receptive to that, and had a great game plan even going out to the fight, and I didn't feel, it felt different, it felt crazy, but I wasn't ever like extra nervous because I hadn't been with these people before. It was just a different situation.
During the fight, what are you hearing? Because it's corners that you never listen to, but Keith and Brandon, who you've listened and known for years, are both there yelling too.
Right.
So what are you hearing while you're fighting?
I'm hearing Keith a little bit, I'm hearing Brandon also, but and what I had later talked to is I kind of didn't hear them as much later on in the fight, but it was only because my corner was yelling exactly what needed to be said. And so they were like, man, we didn't need to really yell over that. So
They just kind of muted themselves.
Yeah, they were just kind of, and that's veterans. That's just veterans knowing what to do. There's no need for 18 people to be yelling the same thing when my coaches are right there in the corner. They were yelling exactly what I needed to do, and so that was kind of really good for them to step back because I could hear them clear as well. So it was good. I mean, it was. I couldn't complain about anything. I couldn't say, oh, I didn't have a good warm up. The coaches were saying some crazy stuff in the corner, and then I could hear Keith, and then there was nothing that could have happened like that. It was a really good experience, and I felt like everybody was on the same page for not even talking, and just knowing my abilities.
So then you lose the fight. Everyone feels that you're robbed. How do you guys stick around, watch the rest of what happens in that first day, or?
It's actually kind of a funny story that nobody really knows about. I was pretty upset nonetheless, and I wasn't ready to come home. So I was like, you know what, let's just stick around in Vegas a couple days, kind of unwind, and everybody's kind of like, hey, it's happened before in the past, keep your bags packed. And a couple of the producers had said that, Dana had said that, like, if somebody's going to get hurt, just stay packed, stay ready. And it was like, okay, all right, cool. Like, I can't really let my guard down. I can't get crazy and do all kinds of stuff. Like, let's just stay focused and let's just take a day or two to kind of unwind. And so we switched hotels, went to the, the Palms. And so we get into the Palms, and it's throw my bags down. I take a deep breath. I'm still super emotional. I just lost this fight that was close and this huge opportunity, and they're moving into the house, and I keep thinking about what they're doing, and it's like, all right, take a deep breath, throw all my stuff down, open the curtains, and we are directly across the street from the UFC gym, which, like, you can see what the UFC gym is because it has the UFC on the big garage doors, and I'm like, that is our view from Vegas. Like, we've moved from completely different hotel to a different place, and that's my view. And it was just like, it was just like a broken heart all over again. And it's kind of funny now to think about it because I was just like, oh, it's right there.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and so then it's like, it's super funny now, but at the time it was like, I don't know if Keith knew what to say. He was just kind of like standing there, and I was like, are you kidding me? It's right there. And you just see the big UFC doors, and I'm just standing there like, what the hell?
At that moment, you're just like, you gotta close those curtains.
Like,
I just
how
close
does
it.
Like, can we switch rooms? Like, can we switch to the
Other
other
side of the
How does that
building.
happen? Like, how do we check into this room and open the curtain and it be the UFC gym right where I fought the night before? And it was like, oh, of course it could. And now it's funny. Then it wasn't so funny. But it was good. I hung out in Vegas a couple days, kind of unwinded, and I stayed packed. I literally did not unpack my bag. I came home. I went right back to the gym. And because I'll be damned if they call and I wasn't ready, just because I was feeling sorry for myself, and so I did. I went back to the gym and stayed packed. I stayed packed, stayed ready. So,
isolation in there. Are you even allowed to go get your own ice?
It's you're definitely supposed to ask for permission for everything. So they have everything on lock. It runs when people are trying to lose weight, cut weight, and people are trying to go out and do runs, and they want to keep everybody safe nonetheless, and not doing anything crazy, and we're on lock.
So what did you do in the room to maintain sanity?
I did a lot of yoga. And we were able to go down and get workouts in, and of course, if they were escorted, or timed, be back in your room at this time and they'll call or whatever. But I mean, I don't, a lot of people, I feel comfortable with isolation. It's not a weird thing. It was like, oh man, this is like vacation. Though I wish I could have had a book or something. I don't, yoga was awesome. I did hours of yoga and I felt good. But it was cool to kind of take a step back and shut everything off in the world and only concentrate on fighting. And that's really cool. Half of the time for fight week, you have to do a bunch of media and this, that, and the other. And this, now you just sit down and you think about your fight and you prepare and you're happy to be there, happy to be in the moment.
You said it following the fight, shouldn't let it go to the judges' hands.
Yeah.
Never trust them.
Yeah.
What else did you take away from the fight?
It's a good question. I took a lot away from that fight. I took that I'm on the right track. I took that I belong there. I feel like all my hard work is coming together, and every single interview I do that, I feel like a broken record, but I do feel like everything is coming together right now. I know that I belong in the UFC. I know that I can compete at that level, and that's what I took away from that, is because I felt like I did well in that fight. Could I have done better? Absolutely. I took a lot of learning points away. I've been criticized for it before, is getting a late start and kind of wait until I get hit to let them know that I'm there, and I, knowing that it was only 2 rounds, I should have pulled the trigger a lot earlier. I felt great in the second round. I felt like I couldn't have missed a punch, but in the first round, and maybe that was the deciding scoring round or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I took away that I can't really do that anymore. So 2 rounds, 1 round, 3 rounds, it doesn't matter. I don't ever question my endurance, so it's never like I'm trying to hold out. Like I gotta get hit, I guess, and then wake up, and I gotta figure that out. It's costing me who knows what. It just costed me.
Obviously, right now, the smaller fighter, everyone knows you're trying to get on the inside to land your punches. But were you going for the takedown? That's been a big ass question.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was fighting for position more than anything, and I felt like, man, I had really good position there. I was never trying for the takedown. She has really good jiu-jitsu off of her back. She has really good jiu-jitsu, so it was never my intention to take her down. I just wanted to be in control, and I felt like I was. I felt like I defended the takedown. And I wasn't trying to take her down, no. However, it was there a lot in the clinch where I could have, I felt like I could have easily have gotten it, in which I maybe should have to score the points and then let her back up. But then, then do you do that and risk getting caught in something? How far do you play it safe? I felt like I was being dominant enough that I didn't have to do something like that to put myself at risk. However, now I look back and think maybe I should have just done it once, but then you can what if all day and all night, and I've been doing it for the last, few vials now since that happened, and you just can't do it. You gotta just know that everything happens for a reason, and here I am, going back to work.
It happened, now debuts on TV. Is it a kick in the ribs after it happened, now that you're like, now I have to relive it with the whole world? And we know it's been taped, this happened, you've had time. Yeah. But to everyone, it's just happened now.
I do feel like, that's funny that you say that. I do feel like I was finally like in a really good place about it. Like, okay, cool, I'm back on my normal training schedule, and and the premiere's next week, and it's like, yeah, awesome. And then boom, like you said, you're reliving everything. You're reliving, man, it's like just ripping that Band-Aid off and being like, oh, hey, remember that? And you're like, man, yeah, I am. And now everybody wants to talk about it, and it's so good. It's so, I'm so, like I said, I'm so blown away by all the support. And I do want to talk about it, and I want to talk about it with everybody, and I want everybody to know how I feel and how it makes me feel to have that support and have this new fan base, and justice for Jodi is a hashtag. Like, this is amazing, and I couldn't be more grateful. So the ripping off of the Band-Aid is is shitty for sure, but with everybody's support, it's been one of the best experience, if not the best experience that I've ever had in the fight game. You know.
And then to trend like that on social media, a little mind blowing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was shaking after watching the fight at my parents' house, and everybody's like, "Why did you do a viewing party and a premiere?" And I'm like, "Because I don't know if I could hold it together really." Like
in front of all you people
it was
yelling.
it was a really emotional thing, and I kind of did it just super low key with my parents, and even at that, just having my phone blow up. Man, I would get emotional thinking about it because I did have the most amazing support that I'm just, like you said, it was crazy. It was just crazy, and it helps. Like, if people just think like it doesn't help, it helps the situation. It helps everybody see what they're feeling, and it helps me. It really does help me get over the Band-Aid. It helps me get over the wound, you know. So I do genuinely appreciate every single message, every single tweet, every Facebook thing, every Instagram, everything out there. I'm so thankful for.
And then we've talked a lot of TUF 23. We're going to switch gears.
Mm-hmm.
This past weekend, UFC 197. About 5 guys, a handful of them that fly that Jackson's flag, fought. Start off with those fight past prelims. Cody East coming off of the Dana White show. Got caught, hit with some big shots. TKO'd in the first round. Think some kind of nerves could have played into that performance?
I think so. I mean, UFC has just made themselves such a platform and such a, man, it's just such a big stage, and to finally get there, you know, Cody's been working really hard for a long time to try to get there, and to finally get there, and you want to perform so bad that you beat yourself, you know, and that's always, could be with any fighter for any fight. On top of that, you add heavyweights, you know, they're hitting hard, and they're little itty-bitty gloves, so it doesn't
take much.
It's super unforgiving at that weight, and he just, you know, he got caught.
He got caught, and in my preference, it was an early stoppage. He looked clear-eyed. Then again, I'm always, I guess, in favor of an early stoppage instead of a late stoppage.
Right.
He'll be back with another chance. Only thing I was disappointed was we saw him come out and try to box, and Cody is a boxer to use to set up his wrestling, and
Right.
he never shot in on a takedown. I thought that would have been best, was getting Walt on his back.
Yeah.
Could have been something there. We move on also in the FS1 prelims at the top. Sergio Pettit has been training down here, new member to the team. He got a unanimous decision win. He showed off some wrestling, was picking and popping at Chris Kalidas. Did you get to work with him much? You guys are around the same stature.
We did not work together much, but a super cool addition to the team. They're really cool guys, and they work hard. Like, they're workhorses for sure, and it's awesome. Like, it's so cool to see so many different fighters gravitate towards our team, and that's just where we're at right now. I mean, when it's so many fighters, and I have it on my mind only because I just saw them, but like, it gets to the point where, man, our competition is so high and we're all so good that eventually they're going to start fighting each other, you know, and that's a big topic right now with our team, is because of the Alistair Andre fight. But it's cool. They were a great addition to the team, and I have nothing but good things to say about them.
And then was Yair Rodriguez down here at all for any of this camp?
He was ish. He was in the area. Yeah, he was here and there, and man, he's talented.
That kick. I have that on my Instagram, that finish. That was insane. I just smile. I met him at one of the Jackson's MMA series, and I just went up to him like, where do you get that creativity from, dude?
Yeah.
You're something out of a ninja movie.
It is, and he's just, in your head, you're thinking, like, when he's doing it at the gym or, like, showing stuff, you're like, man, that shit is never gonna work. Like, that would never work. And he continues on doing it and knocking people out, and it works. It freaking works, and it's awesome. And he's great. He's what an inspiration to everybody to kind of get out of their own comfort zone, because that shit's wild.
Then talking about high-level competition, Anthony Pettis, he looked a little gun-shy. He loses the decision to Edson Barbosa. Didn't show up about fight night. Something, maybe the in-between camps, something for him didn't feel right, look right. But what was it like seeing some of the sparring matches in there, watching these guys? You're like, wow, people pay this for pay-per-view.
Yeah, people, that's exactly. They have little guy and big guy practice, so our practices are split because there's a lot of people there, obviously. But you can start seeing that the class times. There's not parking at our facility because it's a huge facility, but our class times are merging because the big guys will stay and watch the little guys, and the little guys are coming early to watch the big guys because it's like, this is some real shit going on right now. This is a pay-per-view fight. And I get to see it, so now I'm going to rearrange my whole schedule to be at the gym early to watch the big guys, and the big guys will stick around and watch the little guys. So it's real. Every day you learn something new.
That's also coming from someone that last time I saw you at the gym, I think I had to park down the street, across the street,
Yeah.
down the road, and walk back to meet you guys at the door.
But I think we all have to do that now, so don't feel bad.
And then the main event, John Jones. There was some boos, but it was dominant. 5 rounds, a 1.5 year layoff. A guy that's a monster. If you can make a bigger 205er than OSP, I'd be surprised. What did you think as a teammate watching John?
I think John's so great. I think John's so smart. I think he's intelligent. I think he's grown so much in the last 1.5 years that even people will never realize how hard John works and where his mindset is right now. And I'm so proud of him. He fought a great fight, and like he said himself, he's never had to switch opponents before, and he's not one to do that. But he knew that the fans wanted to see him, and he knew that he needed to keep that fight, and so he did it. He went out of his comfort zone for everybody else to still fight, and he performed. He did great. He did it. He fought a dominant fight, and it's like, people are it's tough, and people are saying, that DC would have beat him if he would have fought like that. Well, he didn't train for him. He trained for DC, and I think it would have been a different fight anyway. I'm confident in John. I think that he's a big inspiration, especially right now, and I thought it was a great fight for him. I thought it was amazing.
I think it was the 4th round. He gets OSP down. OSP's starting to give up his back. You think John's gonna look back at that moment and kick himself a little bit and be like, that I could have right there. I just could have stopped him, and everybody would
just and
shut up today, right?
Right, yeah. And John is smart, and like he said, he's his own worst critic, and I think a lot of us are. So they'll sit down and they'll review it and they'll talk about it, and everything is presented in a fight and around the fight for a reason, and I know that he'll take the best out of that.
And from someone that's old school Jackson's, been there forever, is it crazy to be in a new facility and still fighting for mat space?
Yes, absolutely. It was like, oh, we're gonna have this huge gym and it's gonna be crazy, and just you build it and they'll come, and it's really is an honor to be able to fight there and fight for mat space there, because you're bumping into the best, and you're pushing BJ over because he's rolling into your space, and you're like, oh shit, it's BJ Penn and whoever else is there, and that's the thing is it's not just the names that are there, the big name people. It's the people that don't necessarily have a name or even want a name that are there every single day grinding it out, making me better, making each other better, and those are the people. Like, those are the team. Everybody's like, how's it training with John Jones? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't spar with John Jones because that doesn't make any sense. It's awesome to have him around the gym, and he's a great person, and he sits down and watches little guy practice and is like, oh, I really liked how you did this left angle. Have you ever thought about this kick here? And yeah, we're learning from each other, but it's the guys that are there pushing every single day. We have the most amazing team, and our partnership with Gracie Baja, I mean, I have the best rolling partners ever, and I could go on about my team alone. So yeah, it's crazy to fight for mat space in a multi-million-dollar facility, but it's like, it's not something that I complain about.
And then from this little guy, little girl practice, talking to people we've never heard of, give us a guy and a girl that we will hear of one day.
Adriana Rascon. She is actually out of Gracie, Baja, and she's a pretty amazing jiu-jitsu artist, and I've been bribing her to hit mitts with me a little bit. And so I don't know, maybe she will, maybe she won't, but I mean, she's ranked in the world as one of the best competitors at her weight division for jiu-jitsu, and selfishly, I would like her to make the transition over. But she's amazing, and a guy, man, we have a bunch. The first person that comes to mind that has just helped me so much, has been probably the most helpful, is Ray Martinez. And he's fought locally here, and
a large amateur record of submission victories.
And and it's funny because he watched the fight and he was like, "Oh, I wasn't worried at all when she took your back," and I was like, "That's because you've been choking me out for 7 years." And it's like, thanks Ray, because there's been times where it's like, was that like 8 times in one round? Like, what is going on right now? But it's guys like that, you know, the people that aren't like I said, necessarily in the headlines for anything, but it's they deserve. They don't even want that. Maybe some don't want that, but it's those people that are in the gym every single day, kicking your butt and making you get better, so you can be not worried when somebody takes your back. I was like, Ray would stink some crazy ass choke that I've never even heard of in that position, and like, no, I'm okay, like I'm good right now. So I just love my team. I really do. I love all of them. Celine's a good training partner. She should be fighting in Invicta soon, I think. And man, we got a lot of up and comers. We got the Tegan Ring. She's up and coming. And she works hard. She gives me some tough rounds sometimes, and it's just like I said, everybody's there to make you better. And a bad day, an off day at Jackson's MMA Winks is a really bad day when you have an off day, and they exploit that, and there's no mercy there. It's like, oh, I had a bad day. It's my first day back from training, and every day you get on that mat, they're coming to get you.
Jodi, as always, great talking to you. I gotta thank you for the time.
Thank you.
There'll be more DC Life Uncensored after this.